Out here trying to grind.
We're trying to get this over with,
Good morning, Brookville High School, and welcome to this edition of Life After High School. I am Dontae Constable. Joining me today is Logan Thrush. Logan, thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having me, Dontae.
So, Logan, can you tell me a little bit about where you're going to school and what your major is?
So I'm currently a sophomore at Slippery Rock University. I'm majoring in Homeland Security while also doing ROTC as well.
What made you want to do the ROTC?
So I've always liked the atmosphere of the military idea. And then my dad was in the military, so I've always had that kind of background. And I wanted to be an officer if I went into the military, and that's whenever I found ROTC and kind of went after that.
So Homeland Security, why did you choose to do that?
I chose that because it really ties into the military as well. So I figured if I don't do 20 years in the military and want to get out early, I can really find a career pretty easily maybe with Homeland Security and with the military background, so it'll tie in.
What is the biggest challenge that you had transferring from high school into college?
I'd say that the biggest challenge is definitely getting yourself on a schedule. So in college, it's a lot more self-paced. You have to actually stay focused on things. So in high school, teachers are going to constantly remind you about due dates and stuff like that. While in college, professors will give you a syllabus, and they expect you to read that syllabus and know it and know whenever due dates are. So you just have to stay on top of things.
And making your schedule, what's the difference between making your schedule in high school and college?
I would say that the biggest thing is in high school, it can fluctuate a lot. Teachers are more so lenient with due dates maybe, while in college, due date on a syllabus is usually going to stay unless a class is canceled or something like that. So just making yourself stick to hard times, so to say. So I personally have a calendar, and I like to follow that calendar, and I just pretty much stick to it.
Is there anything that we could change here at Brookville so that future incoming college freshmen make the adjustment better into college?
Yeah, I would say one thing that they could do is, I remember my senior year of high school, Mrs. Volek had a stats class, and she actually went like a college class where there's a syllabus, and she'd have us follow that. So that really allowed me the opportunity to see what I could expect. But in terms of a big change, it'd be kind of hard because at Brookville, a lot of kids might not go to college and stuff like that. So you also have to account those kids in. So it'd be really tough to make strong changes because you have to account for all of the other students who aren't going to go to college.
What are some good points and disadvantages of the more freedom, and what are the disadvantages of that as well?
I would say that on the upside of more freedom is you're able to go out and do more things maybe. I remember in high school, my parents were always kind of lenient. Like, they wanted to know where I was and all that stuff, and they were strict, but on the same side, they realized that I was growing up and stuff like that. While in college, you have all the freedom. So, it can either make or break you. You see a lot of students get to college, and the students whose parents might have had them more so on house arrest, so to say, whenever they were in high school. So you just have to really remember why you're at college, and at the end of the day, you want to balance your time. So you want to have fun, but you also have to remember why you're there and getting good grades in your future.
Yeah. Back to the ROTC, can you summarize a day of the ROTC experience or training?
Yeah, so really with ROTC for me is, I wake up at 5:20 and then I'll go to PT, which PT is running and just physical exercise pretty much. So that'll go till 7, and then after that it's pretty much your normal college student unless you have a military class that day, which then you have to wear your uniform to. But other than that, you're pretty much just a normal college kid, and then over some weekends you have obligations, and every Thursday we have a lab where we do more tactical stuff and learning the understanding of kind of the background of the military, so to say, and how to go about tactical operations.
Can you describe the friendships that you've developed at Slippery Rock? Now, is it easier for you to make friends at college, or was it easier at high school?
I would say for me, it was kind of easy, so to say, to make friends in both. I guess sports had a lot to do with that. But in college, you really see that students are there not only for you outside of school, but you all push each other through school, I guess, as well. So a lot more students are willing to sit down and work with you on a project and stuff like that rather than maybe in high school. So I guess you just kind of build a stronger bond with kids in college because you're there for the same reason and you want the same things out of it. While in high school, kids might go different directions.
Yes. Can you describe a little bit about the classes, how they've run? Do you have a lot of lectures, or is it a large classes or auditoriums, or?
So for me, my class sizes are kind of similar to those here at high school actually. So maybe, 20 to 40 kids, not too crazy. A lot of the science classes have a lot of the lecture classes that you see because there's a lot more science students, I guess. So they have larger classes and more lectures. So I've only ever had one lecture class with probably 200 some students. So that definitely is a lot tougher having to take notes and stuff rather than the smaller classes.
What are your favorite classes and least favorite classes, and what are the reasons for that?
I would say that my favorite classes are definitely the ones that are on a smaller scale. There's more intercommunication with professors. I've also had a lot of online classes that I don't really care for. So, but with Homeland Security, the cool thing is a lot of it is dealing with terrorism and stuff like that. So you research a lot on your own too and just kind of see the structures of things and how places are vulnerable, so to say.
How is the location at Slippery Rock different from here at Brookville?
It really isn't that much different, honestly. You still see people wearing their camouflage and stuff. So it's not a whole lot different, but you see, like out in town, I guess, so to say, the townies are definitely more appreciative of college students and they expect you to talk to them. So you just have to learn how to communicate with older people, I guess, which is kind of seen in Brookville as well.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Do you work or have a job whenever you're at school?
Yeah, actually, I do have a job, but it's kind of on a lower scale. I work 4 hours a week at the ROTC building. So I do that, but then through ROTC, I'm on scholarship, so I get money through that as well, which is nice.
What is the biggest change personally that you've seen in yourself from high school to this point?
I would say that the biggest change I've seen in myself would just be realizing kind of what I want to do in life. So in high school, you're still kind of trying to figure it out and all that. And high school is a time where you should have fun here, and because you really are only here for a few years. And then in college, it's time to get a little more serious, I guess, while still allowing yourself to have fun. So I guess the biggest change I've seen in myself is just the ability to, transfer ideas and what I really want for myself and how to go about that.
How long did you want to go into RTC right away, or did it take you a year or so to get into it?
So whenever I was in high school, I actually wanted to play football in college, and then I realized that I didn't want to do that anymore. So it was my senior year. Right towards the end, whenever I graduated, I realized that I wanted to do ROTC. And then the ideas just kind of fluctuated through that. I made some phone calls with the guy at Slippery Rock and really just started to figure out that that's what I wanted to do. And I got involved with ROTC actually my first semester at college. So I've been a part of ROTC my whole time.
Do you think that the participating in sports was beneficial for this college experience and for the ROTC process?
Yeah, I really do. I think that sports not only allow students the ability to make friendships and just stay on top of things, but I think that sports allow students the ability to become leaders. So through sports, you're going to have captains, which I was fortunate enough I was a captain of quite a few teams. And it was just a cool experience because you get to deal with students and you also get to deal with the coaching staff. So through that, I really think that you learn to communicate with other people. And I think that sports allow you to compete, and I think that competing is a big thing in life. But whether a student does sports or maybe it's the play or band or something like that, students should definitely get involved here at Brookville.
Yes, absolutely. What is your branch of ROTC and your obligations after school when you graduate?
So through ROTC, I'd like to branch active duty infantry, and then my obligations after school will consist of 4 years at the minimum. So, yeah.
Well, Logan, I want to thank you for joining me today for this edition of Life After High School, and I'm Dontae Constable. Have a great Blue Raider day.